Chapter 7 Fish. I sat stubbornly under a jamun tree in my garden, trying to concentrate on a volume of Nyaya Shastra. It was a large and laborious book that set out the laws of the land, which my brother was currently studying. Around me, summer unfurled its drowsy petals in a conspiracy to distract me. Insects sang. Lucius purple jamuns dropped lazily onto thick grass. The bed cried for bright birds pulled at my chest, releasing a strange restlessness. My companions, daughters of courtiers, clustered themselves under canopies hoisted to protect our complexions. They murmured gossips, chewed betel leaves to redden their lips, exchanged recipes for love potions, pouted, giggled without reason, and emitted suitably feminine shrieks if a bee orbited too close. From time to time they sent me beseeching glances. If only I did decide to go back inside the palace. Depilate's sun, even without a canopy, it was so bad for our skin. They did have to spend hours soaked in yogurt and turmeric paste to counter its ravages. I ignored them sternly and continued to read. The book, which described in elegance more details complicated laws concerning household property, including servants and wives, caused my eyelids to droop. But I was determined to learn what a king was supposed to know. So I ignored Summer's blandishments and battled with the book. But I was fated never to finish learning Nyaya Shastra. Even for as I turned the pages, Daima came from the palace riding as fast as a bulk would allow. Out of breath and wheezing, her face an alarming red, she shooed my companions away. Then she whispered the news in my ears. My father had decided. Sikandar's visit must have stirred up a veritable storm of anxiety in him. That I was supposed to be married next month. Ever since the prophecy, I had thought intermittently of marriage, at times with excitement or resignation, at times with dread. I sensed vaguely that it was a great opportunity for what I wasn't sure. I did imagine that it would be similar to the weddings of my father's other daughters arranged by elders. But Daima informed me I was to have a swayamvar. Eligible rulers from every kingdom in Bharat would be invited to Panchaaali. From among them, my father had announced I would choose the man I was to marry. After the initial shock, I was filled with exhilaration. I ran to find Tree. I can't believe I'm going to pick my own husband, I cried. Why didn't you tell me? Don't get so excited, he replied glumly. Something always goes wrong in a swayamvar, either while it's happening or later. I felt a twinge of foreboding, but I refused to let Tree's words ruin my mood. He was too cautious. Sometimes I told him that the gods must have got mixed up when they pushed us out from the fire. He should have been the girl and I the boy. I wish father hadn't made the decision so hastily, he said. You're just jealous that I get to choose my own spouse when you don't, I joked. As a matter of fact, Dri was quite taken with her neighboring princesses to whom our father had betrothed him. I had surprised him a couple of times, gazing solemnly at her portrait, which he kept hidden behind a stack of scrolls. But a question squandered me. Why would a father, who delighted in control, allow me so much freedom? Is it really going to happen? I asked Dhri. Or is he going to suddenly change his mind? It will happen. He sent out 100 messengers to invite the most important kings. Pleasure palaces are already being built for them But Krishna, when he had entered the room, laughed, staring at me. Oh, it'll happen, Krishna. But it may not be what you're imagining. Truth, like a diamond, has many faces. Tell her, Dhri. Tell her about the test. This was what they had planned. My father, the king, along with his ministers and priests, for the good of Panchaaali and the honor of the house of Draupadi. Before the wedding, there would be a test of skill. The king who won it would be the one I did garland. Why even call it a Swayamvar then? I cried. Why make a spectacle of me before all those kings? It's my father, not I, who gets to decide whom I'll marry. Dhri looked unhappy, but he spoke firmly. No, fate will decide that. It's not an ordinary test that father's setting your suitors. They must pierce a fish made of metal, revolving high on the ceiling of the wedding hall. His support of our father made me angrier. What's so difficult about that? Isn't that the first thing warriors learn, how to hit a moving target? Or do your enemies sit on the battlefield waiting for your arrow to come and find them? There's more to it, he explained with voice patient. They can't look directly at the target, but only at its reflection in a pool of whirling water. They must shoot 5 arrows through a tiny hole, a shield, to hit the target. Nor can they use their own weapons. They must use the Kindara, the heaviest bow in existence. Krishna added helpfully, your father borrowed it after much supplication from the gods. There's only a handful of warriors in the world today strong enough to lift it up, and fewer still can string it. I glared at them both. Wonderful, I said. So he sent them an impossible task. Is he mad? Not impossible, Krishna said. I know someone who can accomplish it. Arjun, the 3rd Pandava prince, my dearest friend. Arjun? I said in surprise. You never told us he was your dearest friend? There are many things I haven't told you, Krishna said, quite unapologetically. Dhri's eyes were eager. Is he really the greatest archer of this time? I think so, Krishna said. He's handsome and a great favorite with the ladies. I think our Krishna will like him. His words had made me curious, though I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing that. Why would our father want me to marry the man who humiliated him? I asked. Arjun didn't humiliate him, Dhri said quickly. He was only following Drona's orders. A warrior has the greatest respect for the man who defeats him in battle. Men, they lived by strange rules. I wanted to ask Dhri why our father hated Drona so much. Then, since Drona had been the mastermind behind that defeat. But I allowed myself to drift to more pleasant thoughts, to be beloved of the greatest archer of our time. to be the woman whose smile made his heart beat faster, whose frown wounded him almost to death, whose advice guided him most important decisions. Could this be the way I was meant to change history? Krishna said shyly, as though he knew what I thought. Then he said, if he should come, if he should win, what a great victory it will be for the Panchaaali. And I like the sound of that. What do you mean for Panchaaali? Don't you see? Krishna said. Once he is married to you, Arjun can't fight against your father. He can never be Drona's ally again. My mouth filled with ashes. How foolish I had been, dreaming of love when I was nothing but a worm dangled at the end of a fishing pole. Father designed a test to lure Arjun to Panchaaali, didn't he? I said. Because he has been defeated by Arjun, he couldn't send a marriage proposal directly to him without losing face. But the Swayamvar is the perfect opportunity. He knew a warrior like Arjun wouldn't be able to resist such a challenge. Power. That's all he cares about, not his children. I had long suspected this. Still, I was surprised at how much it ranked to articulate it. Panchaaali? Dri started. That's not true. Why won't you ever admit the truth? I spoke bitterly. We are nothing but pawns for King Draupadi to sacrifice when it's most to his advantage. At least, I'm just going to be married off. But you? He's willingly to push you to your death, just so he can have his revenge. As soon as I did say the words, I was sorry. And not only because Sri looked as though I did slapped him. Daima said one should call up a man's death by speaking of it. Had I brought my brother's bad luck because I couldn't control my tongue? I said a quick prayer for his safety, though I wasn't much for praying. Krishna touched my shoulder. Your father isn't as heartless as he seems, my dear. He's just convinced that your happiness lies in being the wife of Bharat's greatest hero. And for Dri, he's convinced his happiness lies in avenging the honor of his family. Even as Krishna spoke, I seemed to smell blood and burning. I was ashamed of my petty words. The future that awaited Dri was so much worse than anything I did ever have to face. I wondered if it would break him or harden him, and which would be worse. I wondered if I did pray for the wrong thing. As for the pawns, Krishna was saying, aren't we on pawns in the hands of time, the greatest player of all of them? At night, I considered what Krishna had revealed, and why had it pricked the bubble of my romance no sooner than it had formed. He was trying to teach me something. Was it to be aware of the dark motivations that lay behind seemingly benign actions? Was it to not let myself be carried away by the emotion? To see myself instead as part of a larger political design that would affect the fate of Bharat? Was it to teach me how to wear the armor of caution so that no one could reach past it to break my heart? Important lessons, no doubt. But I was a woman, and I had to practice them. As Sikandi had suggested, in my own way, I would approach the problem as learned. no matter what my father's intention. I could still make Arjun's heart beat faster. I could still influence how he thought. Perhaps time was the master player, but within the limits allowed to humans in this world the sages called unreal, I would be a player too.